Today on Me, Myself, and the Woman in Me, a Me, Myself, and miniseries and book club. I'm joined by my friend, mother, and fellow Britney fan, John Ali. We begin our journey reading through Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me. We recap, highlight, and tangent our way through chapters 1 through 5. Here we learn more about Britney's upbringing and humble beginnings in Kentwood, Louisiana, and more. Remember, this book club is ours, so make your voice heard wherever you watch or listen to this podcast. And now, book club's in session, bitch. Welcome, everybody, to the debut, our baby one more time, if you will, episode of Me, Myself, and the Woman in Me, the Britney Spears memoir. Every week we're going to be recapping maybe every other 5 chapters or so. Love my mother, but she got some short chapters in this book of the memoir. And we're going to be recapping, discussing, talking about what we loved, what we hated, who we hate, which is the Spears family, except for Britney herself, obviously, what we learned, and just really getting a chance to sit down and expand on how much Britney Jean Spears means to us, because I find myself running into bringing her up every single episode of my original series, Me, Myself, and, which you could stream everywhere, and season 2 is coming very soon. But I'm like, this is perfect timing. She has a memoir coming out. The quote-unquote mysterious book she hoped to release one day is finally here and in front of us. I can't believe I'm staring at it. That's crazy. But anyways, every episode we're going to be joined with a fellow Britney super fan. Not a fan. Super fan. I mean it. Somebody that's been there the whole time. Somebody that looks up to this woman in the way that I do. So without further ado, I'm joined by the first Britney stan that comes to mind, or one of the first few, one that is very talented, one that has been on the show before and will be on again very soon, John Ali.
Hello.
Welcome.
It's pretty, bitch.
It really is. It is. Well, yes, sort of, kind of. It is. Britney, bitch, I'm happy that you're here today.
Yeah.
First of all, I mentioned it when you walked in. We talked about it for maybe a good half hour at this point before we started recording. But let's get into the denim on denim.
Yes, I didn't want to be obvious and wear the memorabilia. So I found this denim on denim that I have. I like a lot of denim in general.
Mm-hmm.
I have a jacket that's denim. So I was like, I'll just reference that moment.
Yeah.
Brought the Pepsi because I really, really do like Pepsi. And Pepsi is Pepsi.
Yeah, what's your favorite kind of Pepsi?
Oh, Pepsi's Pepsi.
Pepsi's Pepsi.
Regular Pepsi.
Regular. Oh, I really do.
And
I really do.
and
like
her
Pepsi.
classic Cheetos. Yeah. All we're missing is a vanilla candle.
Coming soon.
Yeah, planning for the next one. And there'll be layers every episode. You just add another thing.
That would be genius. You know what? Next, scrap this old thing and get the femme fatale photo that they would reuse every single fantasy re-release.
I feel like that happened a couple eras. There was the femme fatale era that happened a couple times. And
Yep.
then the blackout era when Give Me More single cover.
Yes.
The album cover, the single cover, the VMA promo. It was used for everything.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna increase the amount of Britney references, nuances as each episode goes on, and I can't wait because I think next weekend I'm getting my blonde retouched. So I will really be in my 2001 knee bag.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Whereas right now I'm in my 2006 chapter where she misdyed her hair. Y'all will read about it in the book if you're reading along. She misdyed her hair and it took her forever to get back to her original color.
Right.
But we will get back to our 2001 knee, dream within a dream. Blonde, buttery goodness.
Right.
One day. But I'm very thankful for you to come here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be back.
And I'm ready to chat about the book. But before that, I want to ask everybody, whether you're watching, whether you're coming to the show, and I think I even texted to you before, I wanted you to bring a Britney moment that stands out to you, whether it's a moment, a piece of her art, a song, a lyric. What's the thing that you go back to? And it could differ by the day, week, month, era. But what's the thing for you right now that you go back to that makes you say, that's my mama. That is my mama.
Actually, it's super recent. I was reminded of it. Because this week was on Monday and Wednesday, they had the screenings of Crossroad playing at movie theaters, which was so nice to I remember when it came out, I made my entire family go see Crossroads in the movie theater, right? Mm-hmm. And it was such a nostalgic feeling to do that again, except with my friends, my chosen family.
Yeah.
And The scene that I was always obsessed with when I was younger when it came out. I mean, there was a couple. I Love Rock and Roll. The point where Samantha Jones
Well, yes.
tells her that she doesn't care about her. But the one scene that I always went back to, and I think it's because Britney feels like so in her pocket, actress, like free vibes, is when she's with Mimi and Kit in the car, and the guy's sleeping, right? And she has to get the keys from it. And I just feel like that whole lead up into the Shania Twain moment. She's just like so effortless in the way she's just present in the moment, and you could tell she's like genuinely having fun. And you know, Mimi, Kit and I voted, and you lost, so you have to get it.
Legendary, iconic, and it's so funny that you bring that up because that's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah,
too.
it's
And
so cute.
You worded it so perfectly too. I was trying to like explain. I'm like, what is it that's so special about this part specifically? The movie, there's a lot that goes on in the movie. It's a great movie, but like, it's that part that kind of warms your heart in a way. And I think it's your point exactly. She's so in it.
Yeah.
She's so comfortable.
Yeah.
She's so happy, and it's so nice to see her in that bag, in that pocket, in that lane
It like
for a
really
minute.
just felt like you were watching three friends hanging out and like doing exactly what they were doing on this road trip.
Like her,
And it just feels like there's no thought process behind her eyes. It's like she's just in it, being like effortless Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Perfect, beautiful, flawless, like all of that.
It's like all the things that we love about her, and I always go back to the bit. And like, I feel like as Britney stans, we kind of, especially ones that have followed her since the beginning, we've kind of like become her. I've low-key like modeled all my behavioral traits, physical, verbal, etc., kind of after this lady.
Yeah.
And it's the moment where she's grabbing the keys and she doesn't get it the first time because he starts to shake up, and she gets it the second time. She's like, I got it. I'm like, oh, that's so her. It's so cute. So beautiful moment.
Yes, I was just reminded of that this week because I went to go see it on Monday.
Yep.
It was so nice to see it, and like, I mean, we had to take the earlier screening because the 7:30 was like sold out. So we're not like, I was like, I'm not sitting in the front row like this to watch this movie. Like, so we went earlier, and there was not as many people there, but we were still making sure it was like the room was filled with noise. We were screaming and singing all the songs.
It was a intimate sing along after the acoustic
it was
set,
fun.
if
It
you
was
will.
nice. I'm glad they did that. It was cute.
I think so too. It kind of reminded me how iconic that movie is. Like, that's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's two things I love: Britney and coming of age movies. I'm like,
And
it's
she talks,
so good.
I mean, she talks about it in the book. But
Yep.
What chapter she starts talking about it in?
Yeah, later on, but she talks about how like she actually gone kind of like method with the acting.
Right. That kind of like, I thought it was kind of funny.
No, I was gonna say the same thing, and I was talking about it last night to my roommate because I was like, I love her, I love Britney Jean Spears, and I love Lucy Wagner, but I'm like, these two people are quite similar, girl. Like, we're not playing Harley Quinn now.
Where are we
Diva.
right now? Louisiana.
Fucking classic. The part of the movie that I love, that I actually teared up during watching it in theaters, is the scene where they're driving in the car. It's like when the arc is starting to like get back up, like everything's fine, the car's fixed, we're going to California.
If it makes you happy.
Oh, I have chills. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Like,
that's the first I ever heard that song, was watching that movie.
Really?
I mean, like when it came out.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how old I was when that.
Oh, I have chills thinking about that scene.
Yeah, it's really like a beautiful moment because it like the song sums up where they are at like in a mental state. Like they've grown, their friendships have grown. They've been like intertwined with each other's emotions, so they can care of each other along this trip. Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, it's cute.
And like the song itself too, it's funny. I think like Britney's whole career is so Da Vinci-esque, not to make like a woven in like Mona Lisa reference, but it's like her career's so like Da Vinci Code-esque in the way where it's like so many things happen and they're so kind of ironic yet life meets art kind of way, or when life imitates art in a way. And I always think that song, If It Makes You Happy, kind of describes her as a person, the way she behaves. Like when she'll say, like, let's talk about like Kevin, for instance. Like she knew it wasn't really the best thing for her, but it's what she wanted.
Yeah.
That's what made her happy. He can't be that bad. And if so, fuck it. Like that's the whole point of the song. And I find it such a like kind of life imitates art kind of moment.
Whoever
represented.
like did the soundtrack had like really good moments thrown in there. Yeah.
Yes.
Some questionable ones, but like
Some.
they are very for the movie. Like I associate them with the movie, and for that I like it.
Same. It's very 2001. I'm very happy I saw it. It's been a fucking week for Britney fans. I'm like, we're having like an active week again.
I know. She's very much like in the sphere of it all. Very much so. Yeah. I'm planning a party that you're gonna be hosting.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. November 10th, I'm throwing a In the Zone anniversary party called Outrageous. And we're gonna play the album. There's gonna be performances by Baby Love, Kimmy Moore, Nani Tsunami, Magenta. And we're gonna have you there. We're gonna have my niece Reese Havoc there.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna have me there, and we're gonna play Britney all night, celebrate In the Zone, celebrate the goddess. I can't believe the album's 20 years old. This, like, in like a couple weeks, 2 weeks, and like next week. It's 20 years old next week.
That's crazy.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 26.
It's older than you, bitch.
I know. That's what's fucking me up about it. And I remember when it came out, just like all of us, like the fact that all of that music is 20 years old and still sounds so fresh. Yeah. I was walking to go pick up a birthday gift for my friend, and I was listening to Touch My Hand, and then I listened to the Bill Hamill remix, and I was just like, this, once again, getting chills in a hot ass studio, mind you, which shows that the chills are authentic. But I'm like, this bitch was like in her early 20s, like 22, 23, making this like god tier level of pop music that we love the girls now, but like the girls are not on that caliber. And it's just such a sentiment to her, and God bless her and God bless In the Zone. I can't say it enough. Yeah,
I'm super excited. And I do actually like in the book how I feel like we could get more of it. Like I would take a book of just her talking about every album process. From like all her like throughout, I would take that. I mean, I feel like there's so much opportunity. Like this is our first one that we've gotten from her, and I feel like we get like her a lot. But I do think there are details that are like obviously like put aside to tell like a proper story. And you were right. You said that like the chapters you zip through them, because it's not a very long book.
No,
it's not.
It's quite quick, which is why I'm happy she's making a second part. She said on Instagram.
They said they're making a second
That's
part.
what she said on Instagram, that she's writing a second part.
It
I'm
makes
interested.
sense. There's just so much more to feel like she has to share.
Yeah.
I could see why maybe they wanted to condense things a little bit for like the first way out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
If you were to title the second book, the second Woman in Me series, what would you title it?
Oh my God, I don't know. The Woman in Me feels very like she's telling us things that we never knew, that coming from her, how she felt. I feel like there's a lot of that in this.
Yeah.
Like she's telling you like her perspective on things. Maybe like the details aren't like super detailed at all times, but there are moments that she does. She name drops a lot.
Which she does.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was more that they have to take out.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one, what would even like? I'd have to like know like what the
context
is.
behind the book. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because it could be like about the personal stuff, or it could be about the music, career. Yeah. Like, what would it be about? She could literally release so many.
Anything. Honestly, like, I kind of want, granted, she's not the one writing these books. We know she has a ghostwriter, but like, I'm here for her just being an author.
Yeah.
These days, you know, like, she's always been one that's written letters before, which she's explained in the book before. She's always into poems and writing stories. Lucy Wagner as well. You know what I mean? Yes. Lucy Wagner penning "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman," as if Dido wasn't in the exactly, as if Dido wasn't in the room. But I'm like, I would really love that for her. I think like what comes to my mind is like Brave New Girl, Girl in the Mirror would be such a niche reference if she really wanted to take it there, but that would be fierce.
Yeah.
Even if it's just about her personally going on forward.
Yeah.
Post, 98 to 2021 and current.
Yes.
You know?
I could see that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear where she is. She should bring back the Letters of Truth.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I forget like how many things she like has done, like gave us so early on. She had all these specials all the time. There was like DVD specials and like all these things. I still have like I think all of them somewhere.
Same. I went back home to Maryland a few weeks ago for a festival, and I went back in my room and I opened what was supposed to be like a sock and underwear drawer, and it's literally just every single Britney CD, Britney DVD, every single thing. My circus tour book, which I didn't even attend, but I bought on eBay for like $200 in like 5th grade, you know? We had to be there. But where we could be right now is the beginning of the book.
Right.
Sick transition, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and we talked about this before.
Yeah.
We're both the audiobook girlies right now
Yes, we are.
because we are busy. We don't have the time to sit down and read a book with our vanilla candles.
I'm personally an undiagnosed ADHD patient, so like that goes into a lot as well. But yes, the audiobook is fierce. What do you think about the audiobook so far?
Well, I do like that she opens it.
Yes.
And you could hear that, like, the sentiment in the beginning, like, about this book is for her boys. Like, you could feel, like, when she says that. And then the little opening that she gives us. And I like that she tells us why she's not the one reading.
Yeah.
Like, in the audiobook. And then we get Michelle Williams.
No, literally, she's just like, ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Williams, her. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, if you look at it from, like, this Michelle Williams and Britney Spears, it's like, why these two are together?
No idea.
No idea. It makes zero sense.
No idea.
But after you listen to it and you start getting into it, I feel like Michelle, like, really, like, you could tell that she's, like, kind of been a student of Britney for a little bit in the way she talks. Because there are moments where it feels like she's, like, portraying her voice.
Yeah.
Like Britney.
Yeah.
And the way she's reading it.
Yeah, it's
especially
like
when the fuck yous come around.
That is it exactly. I was gonna say I was listening to this chapter. I think I'm like later on in the book now, so there's a lot of F-bombs, and I'm listening to it, and I'm just like, oh my god, she's really nailing this. It's so great, and like she kind of has the little Southern twang, but it's not too much where it's like a mockery.
Yeah. And I feel like she even has like some like those awkward pauses that Britney does sometimes when she speaks. Like she sometimes like stops herself and then continues. And I feel like Michelle Williams like throws in a little bit of that in the way she's reading it.
Yeah, especially like modern day Britney always kind of speaks with these like, as if there's like a random comma thrown into a sentence that doesn't require one, you know. And I burnt my gym down. Yeah. And, you know, things like that. And Michelle I think captured it perfectly. And honestly, like I was afraid there was gonna be a disconnect.
Right.
Going into it, and I'm not gonna lie, maybe like the first 5 pages, from what I was hearing, I was like, I feel kind of disconnected. But as the book went on and on and on, it kind of all melted together.
Yeah,
and I was like,
the beginning, I mean, the first like few chapters is very much about like her early youth. And I feel like that's kind of hard to throw in like a personality into, especially if you're reading it. Yeah. Because it's like, what is she gonna talk like a kid? Like
exactly.
Talk like a kid. So like we're hearing about her like young youth, like story, like growing up in Louisiana.
Yep.
Her parents like being, you know, not they don't have that much. They didn't come from money. You know, we're getting all that. So like I could see why like hearing Michelle Williams talk about Britney's early life, it's like we're not necessarily connecting to the way she's talking about it because it's not Britney.
Right. She's doing her best to kind of just like read
it.
The facts.
Yeah, that's where like in the beginning it's like very much feels like she's just reading it.
Yeah. Whereas towards the end, Miss Williams.
Yeah, I mean we now have Michelle Williams saying faux shiz on audio.
Crazy.
Grammy coming.
Actually, faux shiz. Somebody took a picture of, I think it was like a stripped era picture too, of Christina and Justin Timberlake, and they were like faux shiz, and "Dis my seat," like the Wendy Williams quote, and I was just like,
It's just too good. It's a gift. I will say it's become a gift to us.
It has.
Michelle Williams reading this book.
It has. And with that being said, like going into this book, and I'm gonna ask you this too, I'm like, you know what? Like people could say what they want to say. I'm like, my mama put her heart in this. Yeah. She like there's a lot of shit that she exposed, even going back from the beginning, which we'll start at in a few moments. But it's like, just to start off like the chat and the how do you say, like the deep dive, it's like we're very lucky to have this lady, very honored, and we should really respect the fact that she wanted to give this to us. It's true. Because she really didn't have to so soon.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, and I don't blame her for like not wanting to promote it. Like, like be out on the TV interview circuit, because it's like I'm already saying so much. What am I gonna do? Just like repeat the things I've said on the TV?
Exactly.
So you could, like, hound me about it. Because either way, if she wasn't promoting it or not, the book is already giving us so much that like people are running with it with like headlines about every little detail. Yeah. And my Twitter right now is literally just all the quotes, like everywhere.
And it's all the names that are mentioned. Those are the ones that are getting headlines, which isn't surprising, but it's like, if that's what's picking up headlines, could you imagine what, you know, the anchors on Good Morning America and stuff would be asking her? She was face to face with them. They already asked I think it was like the publisher on Good Morning America, a bunch of stupid questions. Yes. I'm like, thank God it wasn't her there.
I felt very like we don't care a little bit. And it's like, this is someone's life. This is someone who's like sharing so much of that they don't have to share.
Yep.
You know, she's already given us a ton, but here we are with this.
Here we
giving us
are.
a lot more than we probably deserve.
With The Woman in Me. I'm gonna
Yes, The Woman in Me.
grab the book, and I want to start from the beginning. It's funny because I don't wear eyeglasses. I remember there was this one era in high school where I thought I needed glasses, and so I went and I got glasses. They are the thinnest frames that didn't do anything. And so I would wear them just to feel kind of important, or I would wear them to job interviews. And I was like, should I bring them in? But I forgot them. But anyways, I wanted to start with, since we're starting chapter 1, as it goes, the first sentence of the book, I think I didn't realize how telling it is of her story, her as a person, what she's been through. But when I was going through it today, after I picked up my copy at Barnes & Noble, and I was making my notes and whatnot, I was like, oh, wow, this is quite telling. The book opens with, quote, "Raising kids in the South used to be more about respecting your parents and keeping your mouth shut."
It's already like, this is my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I kind of just wanted to start there, since we're talking about like her upbringing and whatnot, and I guess how much of that shows throughout her career, what she's been through. It kind of made me realize, like, yeah, more than ever, I'm like, I've always been by this lady's side and whatnot, but I'm like, yeah, she was just trying to please people from the beginning.
Yeah. It was like she had rules like straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which is, you know, it's fine. We're kids. We're not all, you know, just wanting to be disobedient, but it's like there's limits. And it wasn't just her, which I don't want to say surprised me in a good way, but I was like, oh, wow, like it was all over the Spears household. I remember I was actually kind of like taken back by the fact that she brought up Jamie, her father, being hard on Brian, which I wasn't expecting.
Right.
Because I thought genuinely like Jamie Lynn and Brian were the favorites of the family, and Brittany was just the moneymaker of the family. So that kind of surprised me.
I mean, it makes sense, like, and why we even have her the way that she is. Like, this whole time, she kind of, like, grew up around, like, a restraint atmosphere where she had to be, like, Little Miss Perfect or just, you know, abide by certain rules. It makes sense why we have this woman who's, like, on stage, a performer, just being free, because that's all she ever wanted to be, growing up in like this butthole shitty town, Louisiana.
Literally,
with
as
restrictive of Southern parents.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, hearing the brother stuff is, yeah, because you always it always seemed like the brother was the favorite. Even now, it still feels that way. And I mean, of course, Jamie Lynn and blah blah blah. But
right, her being a quote unquote total bitch, which I love that she mentioned later.
Oh, Jamie Lynn is being dragged in this book every time.
Get her again.
Chance she gets.
I love it. Last night I was listening to the book before I went to bed, and currently I'm in last night I was in the like 2006, 2007 chapters, and I was like, I can't sleep because I'm heated. I was like, I'm just thinking about Jamie, Justin, Kevin, Sam Lufty, Jamie Spears, Lynn Spears, all of them. They could, or what did Wendy say? What did Wendy say?
Death to all of them.
Death to all of them.
Death to all of them.
I hope she's reading this memoir right now.
I'm sure she's already zipped through it.
She's done.
Wendy's just like, ooh.
Could you imagine if we had the Wendy show right now?
It makes me so sad that we don't have it.
I miss it. You
I
know
can
what?
only imagine what she would say about Justin, like everybody. Yeah.
Electric chair.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's my thing. I'm like, if Wendy were to ever come back, I'd be like, yeah, suddenly, girl, my show is yours. Take it. Here's the mic and everything. You could do this whole
Wendy
thing.
Williams, we miss you.
We do. Like, if that's one thing we learned from The Woman in Me, it's like we actually miss that woman, Wendy Williams.
But yeah, the stuff about her brother, like I always had like a bad vibe about the brother. Without even me knowing much about him, like I would only like her mom, and I would love the assistant. What was the assistant's name?
Felicia,
yes.
Yeah.
I always forget her name for a second. But whenever I would watch things behind the scenes, and even like hearing this, you could see why like we gravitated towards those energies more, like just visually. But I always had like a weird like negative feeling whenever the dad would pop up, or whenever the brother would pop up.
Yes.
So it is nice hearing that she did have a relationship with her brother. Like there was like an accident, right?
Yep.
And all that. But like, yeah, I don't know why. There was something like, I felt like bad vibes just when she was like just coming up.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I'm the same way too. And it's funny that you mentioned like gravitating towards people, because it reminds me of a quote that Zoe Saldana once said, "This feels so good to talk about all these niche Britney references."
Yeah.
Somebody gets it. But I'm like at work, locked up all day. But it was on Watch What Happens Live, and they were doing like, you know, when you talk about your experiences with another celebrity, and Zoe
Right.
Saldana was on at
I
the
know
time.
exactly which one you're talking
You know, yeah, and she talked about Britney, and one thing she talked about Britney is that not just like was she, you know, best behaved and like just the biggest pop star in the world, but the kindest person in the world. She was like, children would gravitate towards her, and she's like, when kids gravitate towards you, that means you have something special.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we all, you know, all as kids, we all gravitated towards celebrities, but it's like we all gravitated towards her for a reason, thus forth making everybody else in her circle look sus.
Yeah.
In how do you say, like in comparison to her?
Oh, fully. Yeah. I mean, everything that's led us to this point, it just feels like terrible to even know that she had to experience all of this, and like just so they could have some money in their bank accounts. Like this was like your family, like your daughter, your sister, your mother or whatever.
Yep.
And yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, and that's I think a part of the conversation that's just going to be like a through line through this whole series is that people don't understand. It's like, this might not be your family, but this was hers.
Yeah.
So put yourself in her shoes and imagine the shit that her father is doing to you. What if it was your father or your mother? And it's like people kind of really have to put themselves in their shoes and just understand her perspective, which is nice that she's going back in time from the beginning, so much so where she mentions her.
It does give us like a good understanding of the family dynamic from the beginning.
Yep.
What's clear is that like this is how it's always been, especially like when it comes down to like the father side of it. Felt like was very like, you're gonna follow my rules.
Yeah.
This is my house. Like,
Yeah.
This is how it's gonna go.
Yeah, completely. And that's the thing. I kind of noticed like nobody has really like a changing arc throughout the book besides her.
Right.
You know, Lynn always stayed passive. Jamie always stayed annoying and evil. Jamie Lynn always remained entitled. Brian just kind of floated and took advantage.
Yeah.
And that they just stayed the same throughout the whole entire time. Whereas like at least, you know, our sister, like she evolved. Like she, you know, she rose to stardom. And then, you know, when she changed in behavior for the worse, she even detailed that too. And later on chapters, which I appreciate, at least she was evolving. Whereas the others were solely just there to orbit.
I think there was one
around
person
her.
guy in the ship, obviously the dad, and they were just everyone was like the minions. Like this man must have some crazy like control that like they don't even realize how much of an influence he was like on the son and the wife and the like Jamie Lynn.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of a monster must he be in person?
That's what I'm saying. And I respect her so much because she kind of gives him, I'm not going to say like she gives him a pass or she gives him sympathy, but she understands where he comes from because she mentions that her grandmother too ended up going through the same shit that she did. Her grandmother had like different mental issues, I believe, ultimately having to be thrown into a mental hospital and put on lithium, which years later happened to her granddaughter as well.
That's
so
weird.
And it like even early on in the book, I was so surprised because I was like, damn, this man ruined your life, but you're still able to look back and be like, I guess I could see why he was shaped this way into this evil person. I'm not forgiving him, but I could see the context behind it.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's cool that she is able to kind of like take a step back, even knowing how she feels about him, and is able to still offer us a perspective from like his angle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's very mature of her, even though she probably hates the man.
I know. I always go back to that one era of like post conservatorship Britney, like early stage where she would always post that one video from Euphoria, and it's that one like imaginary scene I think where Rue's just like shooting somebody in the chair and it's on fire, and I'm just like, yeah, same girl, I get it. I get it. But the one thing that stood out to me personally in this chapter, I'm gonna ask you that question next, is that the interest and the passion for art, for music, for escapism of all kinds was always there. And it started with her talking about just being outside.
Yeah.
Later on in chapter 1, 2, 3, it started getting into dance and basketball, but she was always just that kind of girl that was looking beyond where she was placed.
Yeah.
You
she
know?
was like, I don't necessarily love it here, so I need any form of sense of feeling where I could just be me, essentially.
Yeah, she's always been like a wanderer, which I've always loved about her, and I know you and I talked about that too on your episode of Me, Myself, and we talked about where you're from and how you always saw yourself being bigger than where you are. So how did that kind of sentiment that she makes in the point resonate?
It just felt like I was hearing like myself talk. Like it felt very like, oh, I can relate to this feeling of yours, like feeling this like almost like I'm not doing what I want to be doing, but I'm gonna find a way to like at least capture that feeling. In any way I could possibly get it. And then it seems like that's what she did. She was always looking for that. Always looking for like, where can I like feel like what I want at least a little bit. Okay, me going outside, maybe that's gonna give me this for a little bit. And then obviously she found it in like her love and passion for like being active and whatever she was in.
Yeah, which is funny because I think about it and it's just like there's people that are born that way and there's people that are not. There's people that are born and are completely cool with what's around them and they'll stay doing the typical things. Or there's people like her, people like you, people like I that are like, this is cool for now, but what's next?
Right.
What else is out there?
You know what I also realized, and it like shook me a little bit during the, to sort of bring it back to Crossroads just for a quick second.
As much as you want.
The scene where like they do the karaoke, I love rock and roll.
Yep.
And she's wearing her top says freedom. Did you ever notice that? I
No.
never noticed it until I watched it in the movie theater. I'm like, that feels scary. Was she trying to tell us something then, or was it just a shirt?
I mean,
it's like the shirt that she wears.
Yeah, the crop top.
It says freedom.
I never noticed that. I think I was just so distracted by the crimped hair. I'm not gonna lie.
One of my friends pointed it out, and I literally was like, no. I like blew my mind. She was always looking for it. She must have put that shirt on. I'm convinced.
Her career is so fascinating. It's those little moments that you go back and look, and you're like,
wait,
are we watching a mystery series of some sort? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, go back if you can and like go watch. It says freedom.
Wow. Feel free to make as many crossroads as you want because
I mean, it made
completely welcome.
I thought it made sense.
Oh, beautifully, yeah, completely. She's always been looking for it, and it's a moment too. And I think it's one of my moments too of like Britney's art that I want to bring to the show always, and it goes to that of searching for freedom, searching for escapism. She's always been a wonder, and there's this moment, and I could even insert it in post, but it's like there's this moment in Britney and Kevin Chaotic where she's in one of the hotels she's in while they're touring Onyx in Europe. And she's zooming in on this one painting, and it's the ones that she always reposts now, where it's like the Victorian era painting of like the fairies, and she's making a story behind it. She's like, who's this lady? You just hear her little voice behind the camera. She's like, I wonder what she's looking for. She's searching, looking for love or whatever. She's always been just a thinker, somebody that's always been going, and that's just something I've always loved about her. And we hear it from the beginning of this book. And I wanted to jump to another point that was fascinating. I'm just like, I have like my notes listed out from like chapter 1, things that stood out. 2, 3 was kind of 3 is literally just about Brian's accent, which I'm just like, what do you say one more time?
Death to all of them.
Death to all of them. Granted, he was a kid at the time, but death to all of them. So chapter 3, don't care about. But chapter 2, a point that was very prevalent to me was Jamie's struggles as a human. I'm not gonna be nice when it comes to him. I'm so sorry, that flop. But she details his drinking problems, the fact that his business was failing, their family is poor, and pretty much just like what you said, him being the captain of their ship, when he would steer correctly, things would be great for them, and when he would steer incorrectly, they would all sink.
Yeah.
So
and
really
he's bringing them down with them.
Yes, exactly. And so she mentions his struggles before he opened up the gym that ended up kind of temporarily saving the family. And she was detailing all the things he was doing, getting in the accident with Brian, drinking. And I'm like, I had to pause the book for a second, or the audiobook. And I'm like, isn't this the motherfucker that should be in a conservatorship?
Yeah.
What?
He sounds like he's the one with the problem.
Literally. Exactly. So I don't know, that kind of point to me stuck, and I was just like, this is very fascinating. But, you know, then he opened the gym. That saved him. Brittany ends up working at the gym, as we know. I think it was, as a dance instructor for, like, a Zumba-esque type class. So I'm just like, okay, depending on her to save you from the jump.
Like, how old was she? Like, I can just imagine her, like,
Imagine paying monthly for a gym membership to walk in.
Boom, cat.
By an 8-year-old. But then 10 years later, you're watching, like, Slave at the VMAs, and you're just like, is that the 8-year-old that taught me how to boom cat pow? What? Hold on. So that part stood out. to me. But yeah, it was kind of, I think chapter 2 is just a lot of him, just his struggles. What do you think about
I
that?
mean, I feel like they were like, when they grew up in a small town, lived in a small town, and she always was never shy about saying like they didn't really come from much. So like it didn't necessarily surprise me. Like that's when someone says they didn't come from much, that's what I envision. I see struggle. I see like someone working, like parents working their butt off to like make ends meet, to make sure their family's okay. Like I kind of wasn't that surprised by it. It's made sense to like what we've always known about her. Like she grew up in Louisiana. When I picture Louisiana, I don't think of anything else but Britney in like a little house shack somewhere, like with like a pond or something.
Same. I think of like the welcome to signs like, before you enter.
And it's just her living there with her family, no other houses.
No, it's literally just that. She's on the poster, mind you, too.
Yeah, like that's how I envision Louisiana.
And I think of the Rolling Stone shoot too, was at her house back in Louisiana too, right?
Is that what they said?
I think so. The 1999 one, yeah.
It makes sense. She talks about that too. She talks about that.
Oh, yes, she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. I'm like, didn't they have a museum back there? I feel like I remember that as a Britney stan. Like they had a Britney museum.
I think that it still
in
exists.
Kentwood.
I think you could still like go and ask to see it. I think that still exists. I think you have to make it like by appointment or something. I heard about it.
I might have to schedule.
Right, you're gonna go to
That sounds fun. Dollywood, but it's Britney.
Road trip. You'll make your own crossroads. You, Kev, and who else?
Giuseppe.
Yeah.
Guido, the dog.
Yeah, you guys will make your own crossroads.
That would actually be really fierce. It was kind of us going to Rehoboth Beach over the summer, but that's for another episode. There is a point in this chapter 2 that stood out to me. It's the closing like stanza or paragraph of chapter 2. And she says, quote, "I wanted to hide, but I also wanted to be seen. Both things could be true. Crouched in the cool darkness of a cabinet, I felt so small I could disappear. Both everyone's eyes on me, I became something else. Someone who would command a room. In white tights, belting out a song, I felt like anything was possible." And this comes after her talking about, I believe it was like her dance auditions and whatnot, her starting to get into the dance world. So again, it's kind of those pivotal moments, whether it be a quote, a moment where it's like, she's always been that girl.
Yeah.
You know, not to quote Alyssa Edwards, but like, you've always been that girl, always will be that girl. That's her thing. And it's kind of fascinating seeing the dichotomy of how much she wanted to be out there, how much she wanted to be seen, but also how introverted she is.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like that's always been like her struggle, and that's the through line throughout her career.
Yeah.
She's always, she's been larger than life, because that's how it started. She was fresh out the gate, first single, massive breaking records type of thing. But then it was like, then she lost the control. Like she got what she wanted, but then it's like, okay, now I have too much. Yeah. And I need to keep some stuff for myself.
Reel it in.
Or else I'm gonna be destroyed, which is what ended up happening.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, it is funny to hear that she's like always kind of felt that way, like that balance. She was always struggling with like, I wanted this, but I also want this. I need this, but also I want to get that.
Yeah, she's my type of person. Like I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I love being out there, but I also love not at all, and being alone and having my things and having my privacy and my intimacy to myself and everything. And there's a point I was gonna make.
I think it's just like it's a natural thing, especially when you work in a creative field or you're a performer or you're someone who has to public speak or meet people all the time and all that. Like that's like a lot of energy to be exude out, and that's like a heightened energy a lot of the time. It's not like your natural energy, especially for a performer. Like that's just being a heightened version of herself. Yeah. So that takes away a lot of
your
from
social
you.
energy. Yeah, completely.
So of course, like by the time you're done with it, you're like, okay, can you throw me in a dark room now?
Literally, which like they ended up doing and taking a little too far. But like, girl, she just wants a nap. And it's funny because I look at a lot of the legends, like I look up to like Michael, Beyonce, Prince, Janet even, and you notice it's like a lot of them do share this kind of fascinating timidness, I guess you want to say. Like I remember I was watching this not old, like Rebel Heart era Madonna interview on Howard Stern, and she was talking about how when she was in her relationship with Michael, she said, and I'll never forget it, he was dangerously shy. Yet it's so fascinating how these people with the most shyest, timid, quiet, soft and delicate spirits are beasts on stage.
Yeah.
Britney, Janet, you know,
Yeah.
Prince, all of them. It's fascinating. She even kind of pointed that out too, where it's like she didn't know how to speak. Hi, how are you wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
What happened to hi, hello, how are you? Not to quote that, but her getting on stage was how she spoke.
Yeah.
It was creating and feeling a relationship and energy with the crowd, which
Mm-hmm.
I found fascinating for her to know at a young age. Even if she was just dancing like a fucking...
She was able to channel it like instantly. Like it's natural for her. It was always just like there.
Yeah. I'm like, girl, where did this come from?
You can't teach anybody that. It's just there.
No.
It's just there. You can't
That's-
teach that. It's not a thing you can learn. It's just something that just exists.
Completely. It's like when you watch videos of people doing like the Slave for You choreo, it's like people could have the technical moves, right? Even her next to her dancers, she stands out for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Her kind of like supernova self is very fascinating. Like if we're talking about it like from the very beginning, you know, like some people it takes a minute for them to debut and take off. And we'll talk about like Baby in the beginning of that era later, but it's always just been fascinating, like seeing how she's a prime example of the people that are just born with it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have it anymore. Or
Yeah.
it's rare.
It's rare. It's rare. I feel like it's there's definitely like the people that have it, but I don't know if they're being given the same spotlight
Yeah.
that we used to give.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like anyone could pretend to have it, in a sense.
Yes. People have to like do this weird thing of like talking themselves up to it, which like we love positive affirmations, but it's like Britney wasn't out here making memes, being like, stream my super iconic single. da 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 da. It was a fucking super iconic single, and it could speak for itself.
It all spoke for itself. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so true.
And I think that's
And which is like I feel like what's the energy she channeled from the beginning. Like she let everything speak for itself.
mm-hmm.
Like even like I'm sure in these Zumba classes that she was doing, she was like, I know what I'm doing. Like she's probably killing it, and I'm sure all the people who went to this class loved it.
bestseller at the gym.
Right.
I'm like, to be one of those people.
Right.
Or remember in Vegas and she was teaching kids like dance classes?
Yes. Yeah. She had like I think like she would go to like camps and stuff and visit people.
Yes.
She,
You
like-
remember that when celebrities had like their camps, like the Britney Spears,
Mariah,
like
I think
yes,
that's
Mariah
right.
had one too.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Mariah's is.
Is it still going? I don't even know. I feel like I don't hear about it anymore.
Yeah, we don't hear about these,
Yeah.
but I think I'm trying to remember. She detailed it in her
It's
memoir.
like no
and
one
I
wants to go
think-
to camp these days.
It's like nobody wants to get up and go to camp these days. I wish. Oh my god. I'm trying to remember. I think it was her MTV Diaries, Britney's, where it's like they put together a performance at the
Right.
beginning of the summer. And
Yes, that's ringing a bell. That's ringing a bell.
Could you imagine?
I don't.
Mom, Dad, I'm going to summer camp. You learn
I
a
could barely
number.
get them to take me to the concerts. Like it was not happening. But I could dream
Right.
about it. Dream within a dream.
What was your first Britney show?
I never saw her live until Circus.
Oh, you went to Circus.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go when I was like younger, obviously.
Yeah.
But my parents they just you're too young for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I made them buy me all like the specials. So like I had like
Aw.
I had like the very first DVD that she ever released for like Baby One More Time with like the 3 videos and a little bit of like the baby tour.
Yep.
I have the one right after that where it's like Oops, and the cover's like she's like wearing a white top.
Britney
with
Spears
black.
Live and More.
Yeah, like I have all of these.
Yep.
They're like sitting somewhere like in storage. I would in order for like me to get my parents to make me happy, they would have to come home with like some sort of Britney thing, and I'd be like, all of a sudden all happy and no more crying, no
No,
more tantrums.
exactly. I'm like, Dad, I ain't seen you in a week. Anyways, okay, time to watch the In the Zone and Out All Night special to find my happiness. Relics.
Yeah.
I miss that. I saw somebody tweet today, love everybody, but I saw somebody tweet today, they were replying to a post saying how the book sold, I think, like 400,000 units
A
so
whole
far.
bunch.
Already in only a few days. It's
Beating
only,
like Harry Potter.
I know.
Insane.
J.K. Rowling, I hope you're at home seething.
Yeah. She needs to be locked in a closet is what needs to happen.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy out of everyone on earth that was elected as the one to put their foot.
The throner.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's our mother. She put that.
No, I'm so happy. I'm so happy for her.
It's what she deserves.
Yeah, it is what she deserves, and it just shows like how relevant she still is years later.
Mm-hmm.
Like years later,
Still to this day.
like she's lived so many different lives. It feels like,
Yeah.
like, and just not even she's not even done. She's just begun having her fun.
Just a crazy kind of girl. She will tell it to the world.
Yes.
She's just begun. Britney Spears, The Woman in Me, out in stores now. But yeah, one thing that I wanted to get back into for, let's say, that's what, like chapter 4 is kind of just like, I think like the first 5 chapters is her just like kind of planting the seeds of just being like, yeah, my family's not shit. You're gonna see why later.
Yeah, she's like, she lays down like the foundation as to like why maybe things turn out the way they did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because, like, I don't know, this kind of just gave me more perspective. Granted, we've always been here. We've been here from the beginning. We knew who these people were, but it kind of just, I think maybe just hearing so much of her story in this book in such consistent context, like, really gave me the, like, it put me in her shoes of just like, oh, wow, these are really the only people she had. Mm-hmm. You know, so say, like, later on towards, like, 2004, 2005, maybe 6 even, when she started to get a little, like, aggy with her mom and dad and everything, you would think then, well, why doesn't she just leave? And it's like, well, these people are her family.
Right.
They're not just her team that, you know, RCA assigned to her. It's like, these are her people. She stuck with them through so much bad and through so much good at an early age.
She felt like she had to take care of them.
Yes.
Like early on.
Absolutely, which is perfect because that goes to a quote that I wanted to bring up. And it is, she's talking about her dad and her struggles now to affect her family. And she said, the saddest part to me was that I always wanted a dad who would love me as I was. Somebody who would say, I just love you. You could do anything right now. I'd still love you with unconditional love. And it's funny because we're going to make another Crossroad reference.
Right.
Is that not the dad, like Lucy's dad in Crossroads? I think they nailed Jamie Spears down to a T.
Yeah.
In Crossroads.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it's just typical.
Which is still funny why she was like this method acting.
That's the thing. I'm like, baby, like, this isn't.
This is a little bit mimicking your life, a little bit. Obviously, she wasn't an honor student or anything like that. She was a star.
Exactly, which honestly, I'll take it. I'll take it. C's get degrees, and Baby One More Time went diamond, so.
But it's probably why she was able to, like, respond so well to him in the movie. The way she does, like, there's like discomfort, there's like unhappiness. There's and it's like, oh, because I've lived this in my own way.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was at the end of the movie when they're in the car, they're going back home, story's over, fun is over, and everything. It was kind of those moments too, just like when she's picking the keys from the guy. I was like, oh, she's feeling this one when they're in the car and she's taking off the locket, and she's like, Pa, I don't want to be her.
Yeah, don't make me do what she did.
Just let me go. And I was like, it was kind of one of those moments where I'm like, oh, it was early grade, maybe that's, 2001, 2, before things really got terrible in her career. But I'm just like, this feels a little close to heart right now still, because at that time she was what? Overprotected, still is now. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up that quote and how fascinating it was. And maybe this might be me looking too into it, but it goes back to that first quote of the book. Keep your mouth shut. Yeah. Respect and obey your parents. And I think maybe that started to bleed into her relationships. Mm-hmm. She's somebody that loves love. I'm the same way. I grew up wanting to please my parents, especially my father, wanting to get good grades. Just felt like a contest every week of like, can I beat last week's score, metaphorically speaking? And it's fascinating to see later on in the book how her behavior with her father may have reflected and shown the same ways with Justin, especially Kevin, of just trying to do things and please and please and please.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about
that? I mean, I think you said it exactly. Like it's just like it's that kind of thing that you can't really help, and sometimes it's unavoidable when you grow up a certain way. And this is like your relationship with like the opposite, sex or whatever. It's like you can't help but like that energy kind of like carries on your mind, your way of thinking. It kind of carries on into those other relationships, because it's like her caretaker in a sense. Like, this is your partner.
Yeah.
This is her father was like the one that was like taking care of her. And when you're in a relationship, that is sometimes the similar feeling. Someone's there to take care of you, to like balance the other half that you're not like doing.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why she would have those later on. Like that feeling of like maybe having to like keep her tongue to herself a little bit and let them run the ship instead.
Mm-hmm. Completely. Beautifully said.
Yeah, because she always had someone running the ship for her. She couldn't help it. The whole family was being they had one captain, and that captain is the only one that mattered.
Which is so fascinating because, like, if we're gonna stay on the ship metaphor, it's like, yes, Jamie was the captain, or whatever man in her life was the captain. She's the one down in the basement in the trenches peddling this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Always working behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and you think later on, like, when her and Kevin got divorced and he's releasing his album, she, I think, up until today, is still paying him. Or now I don't think anymore because the kids are over 18, but it's like...
I think it's when they get a certain age.
Where it's like she's been paying and still doing the heavy lifting, yet these other men especially have been deemed as the captains of said ship.
It's so insane. That's why I think I remember when the release of the title of the book came out, there was a part of me that was like, the woman in me, I don't know how I feel about that. You know, I didn't like love it at first.
Yeah.
But now that like I've read most or listened to most of it. Thank you, Michelle Williams.
The show is not sponsored or affiliated with Michelle Williams, but is welcome to.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Now I see why it's called The Woman in Me, because it's like it's truly like who like she was misrepresented in a sense.
Absolutely.
For herself. And like the whole time, it's like this is who I am. Like this, I fully get the title now.
Yeah, and I think that's like a beautiful point to focus in on for a second. And I think this is like a new era for her. You know, the last Britney era we had was Glory, Piece of Me era, where it's like we are in the Woman in Me era.
Yeah.
Where I think for the first time ever in her career in the public eye, we're seeing her make her own decisions. Period.
Yeah.
You know, so going back to her not wanting to do promo. Like, maybe before in the Britney and company eyes, we'd be like, yeah, she's going to release the book, do this promo, do that, appear here, appear there. And it's like, no. That's what the Britney Spears machine wants.
Yeah.
But what does Britney Spears, the person, want?
Yeah.
What does that person want? I think that's what's been really special about this era, and I'm glad we're able to see that now. Even down to, like, her Instagram posts and everything, whether people want to believe it's her or not, I'm like, I'm going to go with her and whoever's up in heaven and be like, yes, it's her. She's making these decisions.
Yeah, and she's taking care of herself, and she's letting herself, like, have this time to, like, just do whatever the hell she wants.
Yeah.
Which she didn't get to do for so long.
Yes.
So that's when people, like, complain about, like, wanting new music and, like, all this. I'm like, sure, let's say, like, maybe down the line, and she's still young. It's like, she's not like
yes, girl.
She's not like a grandma or anything, not to, like, age anybody.
No, but
like I love all women, but it's like she deserves to have this freedom. She deserves to have the say now, and it's like the book selling like so high and breaking records already speaks volumes that she doesn't have to do any of those things. She could just put out the book like she literally just did.
Exactly.
Not promote it and let the work speak for itself. She doesn't do anything. She hasn't even posted, like she did that one post on Instagram, but the promotion has basically off her name and what's in the book. The end.
People are tuned in.
Number one bestseller is probably going to be for like the next month or so, or whenever.
Literally, and she even kind of touches in on that point in the book later on too, when it comes to like Blackout, for instance. Like she was talking, she's like, yeah, we hardly did anything behind that album yet. It still became my best album, most critically acclaimed, stuff like that. It's like, people really want to sit and tarnish the Britney Spears name and kind of expect from it. Just because it's 2023, baby, does not mean things have changed. If anything,
she still holds all the power. I mean, she's the most relevant person. Like, she's like, it's her week. Like, we're only talking about her. And then there's all these anniversaries too. Like, I mean, the one that I'm gonna be doing. But then there's like, this week alone was like Baby One More Time and like Womanizer.
Blackout too.
And like all these things. I'm like, what a perfect storm of a week for her. It feels so purposeful. I don't know who chose the date, but they did it right.
Did you notice that? Yeah, Baby One More Time came out the 23rd was the anniversary for it. The book was released the 24th.
Yeah.
And somebody made the point of that was her debut.
Introducing herself to the like world.
Yep.
It's like her reintroducing herself. Yeah, I saw that tweet. Yeah.
A mother,
but it's like exactly that. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
The timing is crazy. It's funny. Crazy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. The album version and the Stop remix.
Yes.
Since we're not like baby era yet, but we're like, it's gonna come at some point as it does. What's your favorite from the album? What are songs that stand out to you from Baby One More Time?
Right now, it's I Will Be There.
Taste. Absolute taste. You could throw that one in In the Zone night too, and I will be spinning.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna try to like. It's gonna essentially be like the Eras night in a sense.
Absolutely.
But we're focusing in a little bit on the In the Zone.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Well, because like I was thinking, I'm like, we could do, not to knock anyone else's Britney night. This is just mine. But like the thing I like would like think about when I was younger, when these albums would come out, is that so many of the times they were out, I was underage, so like I wasn't going to the club, like being able to.
We weren't at Splash seeing her pop up for
You
In the
know?
Zone.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine being like our age now and Baby One More Time first came out, and like that being like the song that you hear out. I'd be going nuts. You know, like it was a different
To be at the
time.
club hearing Me Against the Music
like,
play.
Having an opportunity to like give people that feeling with like an album playback of this album that we all like love and cherish. That was such a pivotal moment in her career. Like, and to get to hear it from top to finish in a big club with lighting and all of that. Like, I'm so excited.
The massive $3 bill
But
speakers.
I will be there for some reason, is hitting in this very moment from that album. It's just like a beautiful song.
It's so good. She performed it once at that like tennis match,
Yeah.
which I found so
I
fascinating.
call it her
because
Celine Dion song.
you know what? It literally is. That's the way it should be. Like
Yes.
younger
And
sister.
and Max Martin did produce that song too.
Well,
There you go.
yes.
He was like, "Oh, it's pretty thin a version of this song. You can have this version."
Yeah, he's like, this is actually the rework version we were gonna give Miss Dion, but anyways, yeah, that's a good song. That was like my favorite from the beginning.
Yeah.
I think now these days, Born to Make You Happy is my.
That one's just always good. Yeah.
She was dancing down in the video too. The video is fascinating.
The video is really odd.
She's pregnant, but then she's in this like futuristic setting where like she has this bob on and she's doing all this floor work and in this leather skirt thing.
Some
I'm like,
of her more like artsy fartsy videos. if we can call
most
it that.
definitely is. I'm like, oh, they were trying to go for a narrative here. They storyboarded this thing.
No, but that album, like, I feel like we forget about it often because it's the very first one, and a lot of that music feels, I think, dated to people.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of those songs still like hold their ground. Like, sometimes it's such a good ballad, power ballad.
Absolutely.
Like Crazy's still fucking great, and then I mean even like songs. She always has her little weird moments in albums, like even Soda Pop. Like, that song is-
Yes.
who came up with the idea for that song?
I want to be there on that studio session day. How did this?
Like, how did
come
Soda
about?
Pop come to fruition?
I have no idea. That the beat goes on.
Oh, right.
To
Well, that was like the Cher
the
cover.
Cher
right?
cover,
That's when
yeah.
she was like adding covers on every album.
yes,
when-
that's right.
Yeah, that's how. I mean, I've had to like go later in life realize that a lot of these pop girlies had songs that I thought were theirs and they're not theirs.
Brandy doing Tomorrow, is
Yeah.
it? I'll Never Say Never, I think, is a cover.
Yes.
It's either Tomorrow or Why Am I Forgetting? Fuck. It's one of the songs towards the end of the album on Never Say Never.
But it used to
and
be like
it's
a
cover.
staple thing that all of them used to do.
Mhm.
Like, they just like would have like a random cover on the album.
That's so cute. They should bring that back.
I think people should start doing it more. It'd be more fun.
Like their own reworked version. Because I know we have like BBC Live Lounge where like the girls are always covering songs. But like to hear like a thought out
version of a song. Yeah, they used to do it all the time.
Really fierce.
Britney was doing it in every album. What was it? Baby One More Time was Beat Goes On. Lucy did it again. I think she did. Was it Don't Go Knocking on My Door?
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction, that one.
I didn't even realize that till I said it.
And then Britney is
I Love Rock and
I
Roll.
Love Rock and Roll. And she stopped it after that.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
She did it consistently for those 3 albums.
Wow. Mariah did the Beautiful Ones by Prince on Butterfly too. Wow. We're putting things
I went back and was
together.
listening to, like, I mean, this is like, but it's from the same era.
Yeah.
Like Mandy Moore, her very first album, even though like she isn't like talking about her pop days. There's a song on her debut album that like I was obsessed with. I think it's called "I'm Not Too Young," or something like that.
Gotcha.
But like I went back and listened to it, and I was like, and I was with like my friend Jeff, who's a little older. He's like. You know, this is like an old song, right? I'm like, what do you mean? Because don't tell me it's one of those moments. Like, he's like, it's one of those moments. And went back. It's like a song from like the 80s or whatever.
Yep.
I'm like, that's so funny. All these girls used to cover songs
Yeah.
on their albums.
Yeah. That is like nothing makes you feel more gay than that moment. When you hear a song, you're like, this sounds like the No Doubt song.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, It's My Life was a song covered by a band before
Right.
these people.
Right.
Oh,
But it
heard
used to
you.
be like a thing. And Britney was like, I wonder if she picked the covers. Too.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I would love for her to bring that
Because
back.
it makes sense. The Beat Goes On was like I think it was like a Cher song.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then I can't get no. Yeah, like she chose like the deep.
Yeah.
Divas.
Fascinating. I love her Satisfaction cover, personally.
Yeah.
I think it goes off.
It does.
I
All the covers are great. I mean, I Love Rock and Roll. That's the original to me.
Same. I was gonna say, even when you go back and listen to the original, I'm like, I think the song is just cunty, straight through and through. But Britney like extra cuntifies it, and it's great. That video too is underrated.
Yeah. Oh, so hot. So hot.
That's a good Halloween
And
costume.
I mean, it's like we could dive into like album trajectories. I always thought like the European singles and the U.S. singles, like why are we really getting different singles?
Like, why did France get anticipating and we didn't?
Yeah, like what's going on? Why did UK get the original Overprotected, and then why did we get the Dark Child remix?
Which one is your Overprotected?
I like the original.
The original.
It's
Okay.
the poppy one.
Yes.
The Dark Child remix was like I like it, and it's more dramatic and more like.
Yeah.
But something about the original Overprotected just like does it for me. I think it's
Yeah.
the breakdown. I need time. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun.
It's the moment
Yeah.
of
This is
the
it.
song.
Like that breakdown, I feel like is superior than it is in the Dark Child remix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Yeah, the Dark Child remix, I always go back to
But I
like
do love the video for the Dark Child remix. It's so good. The rain scene, like all of it. I mean, we could like literally talk about everything. We could be like here for like literally hours and hours and hours.
I know there's gonna be like clients next, like banging on the door and be like, "Gays, get out of the room! Stop talking about that lady." And we'll be like, "Never!" and throw the bag of Cheetos at them. But no, yeah. Jesus, raspy era.
Yeah.
My butterfly moment. But yeah, I'm trying to see what else is there to talk about in these chapters. Chapter 5, she starts going into like dance. That's when she really starts getting in her bag. I remember there is a part where she talks about how Lynn was really invested in her. So like here we see the beginning of like the family seeing her talent.
Yeah.
And not just seeing the talent.
The stage mom was coming in.
Oh yeah, the stage mom was calling, and they're seeing like, oh, she could be.
There's opportunity here. Yeah.
Yeah, which was really fascinating. And I remember she was talking about like her mom making her outfits and everything, going back to the humble beginnings. I think like something happened with the sewing machine or whatever, and the mom like stabbed herself and ended up bleeding out. Oh no, I don't really feel bad for Lynn Spears ever, but yeah, it was fascinating. So it kind of just brings the beginning of that. She gets signed to her first ever agency. She goes to New York at 8, which I mark as like the beginning of New York-ny, which is like my personal kink in life.
I love
is
that she
Britney in New York.
speaks highly about New York all the time. She's never said like I think one bad thing about New
No,
York.
always. And I think, like, we kind of made the point earlier about, like, how she's always been somebody that thinks big, thinks outside. She's
And that's
always
probably
wondering.
why she loves New York, because she feels like there's possibilities are like endless. And that's
Yeah.
how kind of her mind is. It could be like very New York is like you could go outside and you could have like 50 versions of a day, depending on which way you go.
Yes.
So if she probably like that's the energy I think she probably like gravitates towards when she's here. She's like, what's gonna happen? Who knows?
Yeah.
So it makes sense why she
Fascinating.
loves it.
That'd be a really cute movie. Side note. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once, but it's like some person's day point of view of them in New York, and it's like,
And
where
it just
can your
starts
day
when you
go?
wake up, get ready, and it's like you make a left
Yes.
instead of a right, or you go straight, or you go that way, and your day could be completely different.
We need to get in contact with A24, because this is a fierce idea. Brittany can soundtrack it.
Oh, I know somebody who works there.
We will get to storyboarding.
Went on a date once.
Oh. How'd the date go?
It was fine. It was fine. We were waiting for the repeat.
I see.
No, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, was this recent?
Well, I'm going through like a single. I'm in my single phase.
She's gonna step outside, uncover her eyes.
Yeah,
Who knew she could feel
I'm
so alive
I'm a brave new girl right now.
tonight?
I'm channeling that energy. So In the Zone feels like, I'm telling you, like things. The things happen perfectly timed for me a lot of the time. It's
Yeah.
like I'm living in my own movie.
Yeah. Do you ever align yourself with Britney eras? Like, is that like age doesn't matter? What Britney era am I
It's
in?
so funny that I'm very like connected to In the Zone right now because I'm in like a little bit of my sexual liberation phase right now by
Absolutely.
like experimenting again as a single person. And then also like feeling like a brand new version of myself with the Brave New Girl thing. So I'm like, funny how the 20th anniversary is hitting right at that time when I need it.
Yeah, you're having your performing at TRL moment with your coochie almost out. Your rebirth back into the world.
Well, that's not new. I always do that.
Oh, absolutely. And I will be watching and living for all of it. You're having your Madonna kiss moment. All of that. Yeah, In the Zone is just like the perfect album to resonate with. I always go back to this, and I have this conversation on the show with everybody. I'm like, what Britney album are you? And In the Zone is just, we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think that's how we ended last time. But it's how I feel. I mean, obviously Blackout for its own, I mean, that one's going to turn 20 at some point too, but
yeah.
It's crazy to think that. Because I remember like when In the Zone came out, like right before it was released, MTV would do like MTV Leak. I forget what it was called. But they would have like an early listen of the album available for you on streaming.
Yes, on the website.
Their website. Before Spotify and all that existed.
Yeah.
They would have like a little, like their own little separate little mini player. And they would give you like an exclusive first listen of an album.
Yeah.
And I remember when In the Zone came out, and that's the first time I heard it was that way.
Crazy.
It's nuts.
Crazy. Yeah. I had to go in the stores and get it on my CD.
Like I might cry at this party.
You will see me at my best and at my absolute worst. And I hope you're ready for it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm going to be twirling. And if you're playing the bonus tracks, Don't Hang Up in the answer.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't Hang Up is my favorite Britney song.
I'm playing like we're getting a full In the Zone playback. Yeah, it's gonna be Britney up until like 12. So the trajectory of the night is all Britney until like 12ish. Then there'll be shows by the four girls I mentioned, and then as soon as that's over, we'll be doing In the Zone playback. And then as soon as that's over, then it's the rest more Britney. It's gonna be a good night.
I'm not ready for it. I think
I have to show you the teaser after.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That will obviously go up whenever you need me to post. I'm so excited for that.
It's
I'm
gonna
like
go tomorrow.
Fierce.
Yeah.
When the episode rolls out too. Look at that. How fucking fierce is that? I wanted to end the Britney book talk.
Yes.
Or well, chapters 1 through 5 on, let's see. I think it was I'm very studious today.
Yeah.
With my quotes that I'm bringing up. I really should bring my glasses, but it kind of like, so where chapter 5 leaves off or ends off is at her, like I said, getting signed to her agency, everything. We're in the beginning of her becoming a star, period now. And it's like, she's not just like the local star no more. She's not, doing Zumba classes at her dad's gym, feeding his life, which we're going to see for the rest of the book, up until now, thank goodness. And she ends with this kind of paragraph that I love. She says, I was a little girl with big dreams. I wanted to be a star like Madonna, Dolly Parton, or Whitney Houston. I had simpler dreams too. Dreams that seemed even harder to achieve and that felt too ambitious to say out loud. I want my dad to stop drinking. I want my mom to stop yelling. I want everyone to be okay. With my family, anything could go wrong at any time. I had no power there. Only while performing was I truly invincible. Standing in a Manhattan conference room in front of a woman who could make my dreams come true. At least one thing was completely within my control.
Yeah.
And it's that last line. I get chills. It's like, it's these themes of control, freedom, of looking out into the future, into whatever's forward beyond her, escapism, that I just stay so present and have always, and it's so validating.
Isn't it funny? Like even in that paragraph we just read, it's like, even though she was like always looking for like that extra power that she always had in her, there was always still that feeling of wanting to like help her family.
Yes.
Always wanting to help them. So like the bigger ask that she wanted was to help them. Like wanting her dad to be not an alcoholic, wanting like all that, she still always had those feelings, even though when she felt controlled.
Yeah.
She still wanted to help them.
And she was young too. And, a lot of young people that go through things at, a young age and then soon depart. So say like when queer kids leave and move to New York to go to college or whatever, just move out and move from their parents. Everyone always moves with or from what's common and what I've seen. And even me, like, you move forward with a resentful outlook back on your family and back at where you've come from. Yet she always stayed true to it, honored it, and like what you said, still wanted to take care of her family through and through. And we see later on in the book, like she ends up buying a new house for them. She gets Jamie Lynn whatever she wants. everything. She wanted this so much for them.
For herself, but also for them.
Yeah, I think she just like was genuinely just into this for the performing of it all. And I know every artist says that, but with her, I really mean it when it's like she just wanted to perform, sing songs, make music. All the other stuff, the luxury and everything, give to everybody else.
Yeah.
She never was
It
crazy
just came
about
with
it.
the territory. Like, she couldn't avoid it. It's like, well, I'm gonna embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you learn? Like, did you learn anything new from this book? And I wanted to have you for this first episode and many more, obviously, because we know a lot of this already going into it.
Yeah.
But, for me personally, there are some things that I was like, this is new. This is fascinating or enlightening. So what did you learn from this
as
one?
like a truly obsessed student of hers, I feel like
Which we
I
are.
have known a lot of this, but hearing like specific stories, just like about like the way certain things happen, even like the stuff that I don't care too much about, like about her family,
Yeah.
and, like the struggles and stuff like that. Hearing a little bit more in detail, specific things, gives you a little bit more perspective. But yeah, like that through line, I think of the control and the wandering and the always being a caretaker kind of thing and subsiding her voice. That I never realized that it was always early on. So that is something I'm learning. That it wasn't just something that she felt later in life. This was like something that she kind of like was born into and stuck with for the rest of her life. So and I learned, I guess, that it's just always been there, which makes it sadder.
I know. I know. Like, it didn't just, like, it wasn't new when the fame and money came in. It was always this way.
It was always there.
Whether they're rich or poor, just happened to get worse as I got more rich. I think for me, same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think this first kind of intro, literally chapters 1 through 5, I think is honestly just like the prelude to the book.
Yeah.
Honestly, in her story.
Like, she didn't even realize how much foreshadowing was happening.
Literally. Which is crazy. And I think it does a really good job of like setting perspective for new readers. I think new readers are going to have a really fucking fun time listening to this. They're going to learn a lot. Like, this is perfect for somebody who isn't like us, but it also is perfect for somebody like us because we still get perspective. It's refreshing to read it or listen to it in a consistent voice. It's not, from bits and pieces we take from interviews and, specials of her. And I think it really did a good job of like laying the groundwork, which I know is such a like key phrase and stuff like that. I'm talking about the beginning of a book or a story, but it really did that well.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to hear from the book? Granted, you and I are flying through this book.
I'm at chapter 15 right now.
Yeah.
So I think, just according to the audiobook, I have like 3 hours left or something.
Got you. I'm literally on like my last 59 minutes and I'm crying.
Okay. No, I've been loving all of it. I've already gone, I guess chapter 15 where I'm at is she just did like Crossroads and she's talking about how she wished she would have done Chicago and all these things. So like that's kind of like where I ended at.
Gotcha.
But I'm looking forward to like get into the era for Blackout and like the more real intense moment in her career when all that happening, like, and the shaving her head. Like, I'm really looking forward to get into all of that, and hearing it from like her, like the way she would talk to us about it, at least how she's choosing to talk to us about it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I wanted to ask you, what does Britney mean to you?
Ooh, it's
like, why are you invested? Why are we all here for her? Why have we all been here for her?
It just comes down to like what she was feeling and like what the original sentiment in the very beginning, relating to someone who feels like they're meant to do so much more in this life. And I've always looked at her as that person. For some reason, like, she just always seemed relatable to me as this like just a person who knew they were special and wanted to showcase that to the world. Like, that's just who she is. She's like that symbol of like, I can be that exact same energy and still take care of the people around me and still hone into my power and be fearless and want the freedom of expressing the person that's inside me. Yeah. The John Ali in me.
Absolutely. Yes. Damn. I'm like, this is going to be a very emotional series for me to make, my God, because every point you make is so true. And I'm just like, damn, I love that lady so much.
Right.
Like, that's my mama. You can tweet till you're blue in the face. I don't care. That's my mama. Mother. I'm so excited. It's going to be fun. I wanted to also end on, what's your Britney song of this week?
Britney song of this week. You know what's funny? Because I've been listening to the audiobook, I haven't even listened to any of her music. Is that weird?
No.
Because I'm listening to the story instead.
Yeah,
Because normally I would have like music on at the gym and stuff. I've just been listening to the audiobook. So if I have to choose, I want to say, Shadow.
Really?
Your shadow, never yourself.
Really?
Nobody.
As you're in the zone blue.
Right.
Wow.
I've been like in a very like I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone in the zone.
Arriving too late, leaving too soon.
Soon.
That's a co-write credit right there, girl. Her pen, lethal.
Well, yeah, that's why I mean she has the most. I think the most writing credits she has on an album is that album.
Yeah. Her perspective. And now here we are hearing another co-written masterpiece right here.
Now available on QVC.
Could you imagine? I'm surprised. She didn't have a QVC era, no?
I don't think so.
Fascinating. I just remember Mariah's HSN/QVC era.
Oh my God, I live for anything Mariah in that era. Anytime she sells us anything, I'm down.
I'm there. And now Beyonce with the perfume, making a video of her actually talking to us,
Right.
doing
And
an
also,
unboxing.
I love when Britney like announced this book. She's like, I'm releasing my book, and I hope you like it. If you don't, who cares?
And that's what I love about her. I'm just like, yeah, girl, this is new. New Britney is on a mission. This is the woman
She's in
in
a very
me.
like I don't care right now.
I
Which
love
is
it.
I think this is the zone that she should be in.
Oh, you ate that.
I can't
Wait.
help it. I just talk like that.
This is the zone she should be in.
I literally I catch myself like talking like that. I'm like, what? My brain just automatically works like this.
That was it. You know what? When she re-releases In the Zone for its 25th anniversary, it should just be The Zone I'm in. Or The Zone, In the Zone 25 anniversary special edition.
Then, what would the J-Lo version of that be? In my zone now.
This is the zone then. This is my zone now.
Now, yeah.
Could you imagine? That would be, I will say those visuals for that J-Lo, like that little teaser.
It's going to be a whole year from the teaser until we actually get the album, because why is it taking so long?
We're never getting it.
Like, I don't understand it was announced and then it's like, not even a single, nothing, nada?
Ghosted.
Like, what's happening?
She's like, anyways, so Ben and I are married and we're at Dunkin' now. And I'm like, you know what? Happy for y'all.
So much has happened since that announcement. But yeah, this is Britney's time. She has a birthday coming up. The In the Zone anniversary is coming up.
right, it's that
There's so many.
time.
It's like it's her. These last few months are like the Q4 is just about her.
Thank God. I'm so excited. It's been so long since we've had this period of hers where she's active, and it's like, I'm glad there's purpose behind it now. It's not just like, oh, we're getting new music, we're getting a tour, things to buy off of her. Granted, I had to buy this today, but
Yeah.
this is something really intentional, and I think the thing she's cared about the most since maybe Glory.
Yeah.
So it's good to be behind this, buying behind it, and the money is going to her.
Yeah. She's in the control now.
The zone she is in.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking fierce.
Yeah.
I'm having you back for the In the Zone episode, and that's gonna be the title.
I mean, we're gonna have to because it's gonna be post like the party, so we'll have to talk about that and everything.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
That's gonna be. I didn't even mean to say this pun that's upcoming, but that's gonna be the showdown.
Yes, you see, it just comes out of our mouths naturally. That's how obsessed we are.
It's crazy. We were at DJ Liam's Cherry on Top event, which was a Britney themed tribute night. Excellent shout out to DJ Liam. And my best friend Kevin and I were talking, and it's so funny. We were listening to, like the segues from song to song, and there would maybe be like a synth from like up and down coming up in the song that's currently playing. And we would look at each other and immediately be like, up and down.
Yeah.
No way. But we're like, how do we know all this? Somebody says, name one thing about War of 1812. We're going to be like,
Yeah. It's
there's fighting.
But that's for those people who are experts about that. That's for them to do.
Exactly.
We're experts about this.
That's the thing. They like history. We like herstory.
Yeah, herstory.
And that's what fucking matters. So,
Herstory.
what a historical event. I'm very happy for you to be a part of it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
For real. Thank you. Like, thank you. I always say, but like, thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being such a positive like influence on me. Like, there's people around and there's people we compare ourselves to, but like, there's not a lot of people that I look up to besides her, and you're one of them. So I appreciate you so much, and it's just still cool to this day. I'm just like, damn, like this is the person whose forms I was reading, like standing over, essentially reading about this lady.
Right.
And here we are now in person for the second time, chatting together and chatting about her.
Full circle moments.
It's gorgeous.
It shall come.
It's gorgeous, my love. Thank you. Yeah. As always, I'll give you a fuck when we get up.
We gotta do this together.
Wait. Wait, let's, because I'm Britney's student, can we break it down first, choreograph step by step, so I really fuck this up. Flourish.
And then a slight pause to gather your hands, and then it goes. So it's like a flourish.
You better with this fucking branding. Okay. Let me reach over this mic.
It was a full accident too. I just started doing it. I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it.
That's fierce. See, whenever I do things in front of the camera, I just like kind of like Britney as I'm in. I'm just like, just like sitting like in front of the camera, and it's everything. So, camera 4 is ours. Can we do a rehearsal?
Okay.
All right. That was hot. All right.
Should we do
that was dress.
Should we do a 1, 2, 3?
How do they do it in dance? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and then at the 3, that's when you.
Oh, the reference you're making.
Yeah.
Wait, that's so cute. 1, 2, 3, flourish. Yes.
Ready?
Okay. That was rehearsal need. This is the 2001
official.
VMAs. Okay.
Official. Are you ready?
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Cute, my love. Thank you.
We did it. Oh my God. Thanks for having me.
We'll see y'all next week. See you at the next book club. Bye. Period.
People can take everything away from you, but they can never take away your truth. But the question is, can you handle it? Can you handle my truth? Can you? I don't know. Can you handle hers? And his? We shall see.